Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I can't wait to move out? Plus updates. Original post. Hi everyone. For as long as I can remember, I've been the child my parents expect the most from, yet give the least to. An example is, I'm a medical school applicant. I went to the cheapest state school and I'm paid intern at a cardiologist's office. I have yet to hear my parents congratulate me, or even say they're proud of me. My older sister went to the most expensive school for undergrad and the most expensive nursing school, and total, her tuition costed about $500,000. To add, they got her a gift when she applied to undergraduate schools when she got in, when she graduated, when she got into nursing school, when she graduated again, and when she passed her NCLEX. I have yet to receive anything, even an affirmation statement. Thankfully, I can say my family is comfortable financially, but I do my best to avoid any additional costs for them, hence the cheapest school possible. On to the issue. They expect me to watch after our dog and my sister's kid every waking moment of the day. I haven't had any time to myself because of this. I have plans? Nope, can't have them. Gotta stay home and watch the dog so my parents can go out. Wanna watch a movie? Nope, can't. My sister needs me to go do her laundry. And if I say no, it turns into an issue. There's so many examples of this, but my cup overflowed when I was studying for the MCAT and they did not give me even enough respect to leave me alone to study. I was constantly watching after our dog, catering to them and their guests and taking care of my then pregnant sister, as if she doesn't have a husband. I ended up having to retake. Today in the car, my mom asked if I'd move out if I get into an out-of-state school, and I said in a heartbeat. She was visibly upset and asked why in a pretty angry manner. I mentioned all of the above reasons, and then added, if I stay here, you guys will be the reason I fail academically. My whole family isn't talking to me now. Am I the a-hole? I know I need privacy and a stress-free study space for when I'm studying to become a doctor. But seeing how upset my mom got made me feel so bad, so I don't know. Added to add, a few of you mentioned moving in with someone. My grandparents are absolute angels, and have always offered me to stay with them. I've taken the offer many times, but I just feel too much of a burden on them. I don't want them to have any negative energy or conflict around them. Additionally, I pay for everything of mine. The only thing I don't pay for is a roof over my head, which I'm thankful for. Someone mentioned confusion with my thankful portion of my parents being comfortable. Yes, they are comfortable enough, but that doesn't mean they cover my expenses. And whatever they have covered, I have eventually paid them back. Another thing to add is, a while back they mentioned they would help with medical school tuition. But I don't know how likely that situation will be. I'll try to update if anything else occurs. I'm hopeful me saying this to them today would maybe make them rethink how they've been towards me. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. No wonder your parents are upset though. Hearing your child say you're a bad parent is even more rankling and hurtful when deep down you know they have a legitimate grievance. Plus, now they know they will be losing their house elf. My dad specifically said, "Who's going to watch the dog? Don't move out. It'll be so hard to figure it out," when I mentioned applying to out-of-state schools. Please go to an out-of-state school. They do not care about you nor your schooling. It seems like they subconsciously or consciously want you to fail so you're forced to continue living there. I got an interview for a school that's across the country, so I'm very hopeful. Not the a-hole. Your sister is clearly the golden child and you are being taken advantage of. Move out as soon as you can. I just feel really underappreciated. A simple "I'm proud of you" is literally more than any monetary gift for me at this point. My entire extended family sees clear divide in treatment and treats me how I wish my parents treated me. When my uncle found out I applied to medical schools, he sent me flowers and sent me the cutest message describing his appreciation for me and all I do for his kids and myself. Not the a-hole. If there's any student accommodation you can get access to, get out of there. It's one thing to do your part around the house, but being your sister's nanny is above and beyond. Mini update. My mom came into my room today and told me that her and my dad want to set up a family meeting tonight with my sister. I told them only if my boyfriend, uncle, and aunt can be there too. If this happens, I'll let you all know. Now for the full update. Hey everyone. Thank you to those who have given their advice, wisdom, and kind words. Thank you to those who are concerned for my well-being. It means a lot. After this morning, when my mom came in to tell me about a meeting, I called my boyfriend of 6 years now, who ended up seeing this post. He said he wishes he can take me out of this situation sooner, but his parents depend on him in many ways, medically and financially. Though he promised me the second I get into any school, that him and I would start apartment hunting so we'd live together. In that moment, I couldn't stop crying from how happy I felt. He doesn't want me moving out on my own, because he has before and he knows how demanding it could be, especially since I'll be in school and won't have the opportunity to work as often as I do now. So if he could contribute in any way to lessen my load, he said he would. I then called my uncle and we spoke for a bit, mostly him reassuring me and comforting me while I cried. He said he'd definitely come, and he did. Someone mentioned him being a great person. You're going to love him even more. So when they all arrived, we all sat in my living room and my dad started a conversation with, "Why do you feel the need to move out in a heartbeat?" My uncle then instantly pretty much exploded on him, telling both my mom and my dad how horrible they've treated me over the years, how unfair they've been, and a lack of reassurance they've given me. My aunt, who happens to be a licensed therapist, contributed to the conversation and explained how mentally, emotionally, and financially abusive they've been towards me. This entire time, my parents did not utter a single word, just my mom crying. My sister, however, she got the worst of it. She decided it would be smart to say, "Why don't you ask for stuff?" And my boyfriend then mentioned how I have asked for them to tell me they're proud, rather than lecturing or telling me I can always do better, and they still don't. I then added after this how I watch after their kid, do their chores and housework, and how her husband doesn't contribute in any way because my parents said his parents financially support them. My uncle laughed at her, which I kind of felt bad for, because she started crying about how irresponsible they are at their ages, 28 female and 29 male. After this, my uncle, bless his heart, he was in tears at this point, told them if he could have seen the future when I was born, he would have found a way to take me in as his own. Moreover, I want to try to keep this short just so it's not too long to read. My parents ended up having their butts handed to them by my aunt, uncle, boyfriend, and myself. They later finally came to the understanding that they have been horrible. Per my dad's words, I didn't realize how bad it had gotten until now. My mom just kept crying and saying she's sorry, and how she also didn't realize she began acting towards me the way her parents were with her, not the generational trauma. The end of this conversation was my boyfriend telling them that whether they liked it or not, I will be moving out eventually, and there's nothing they can do about it. I need to have my space, not only for studying but for my healing journey. They agreed that this might be the best as it could lead to a better relationship. Additionally, my aunt suggested group therapy, which they also agreed to. Personally, I don't know. I see this as a good outcome from what I'm used to. There's usually yelling and back and forth arguing. I'm hoping I'm not being naive and thinking they understood, but after my uncle and aunt left, my dad came into my room in tears and just kept saying sorry. I've been emotionally distraught and mentally exhausted over this last day. I don't know if I can forgive, because I definitely can't forget, but that's something I can come to grow in peace with. This feels like such a bittersweet resolution. Thank you all for all of your kind words and advice. I really didn't think this would get this much traction. But again, my eternal thanks, and I hope you all have a blessed, successful, and happy year to come. When I suggested an update, I really had little hope for your parents admitting any shortcoming. Happy to be wrong. Honestly, I really didn't think they'd ever apologize, nor even admit to their faults. I just think them hearing it from my uncle and boyfriend made them really aware of how obvious their unfairness had been. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother the truth and why I don't ask him for anything? Plus update. Original post. I, 19 female, have 3 brothers, 27, 28, and 32. My oldest brother Dave got married to Sarah in May. I study halfway across the world from my hometown where my family are. I got really sick a few months ago and rushed to the nearest hospital. Turns out they don't accept my insurance and I had to pay out of pocket. I was 50 euros short and called everyone I could, but no one was picking up. I then called my oldest brother Dave because he always picks up and asked him to send me 50 euros and I would send it back once I get paid in a few days. He told me not to be ridiculous and he didn't need me to pay him back 50 euros. Sarah called me that night and asked how I was doing. After the chit-chat, she asked if I could ask someone else the next time I need money, because my brother is a married man. I was shocked, but I apologized and said I offered to pay him back. She said it's fine, but next time I should plan my finances in advance, so I won't have to rely on a married man. It's my birthday soon, and Dave called to ask me what I wanted. I said nothing and that I was fine, but I appreciate him asking. My other brother called to ask what I want, and I said I wanted some money to heat my apartment. I couldn't afford to heat it this month. He was baffled that I was so broke I couldn't afford heating, but wasn't saying anything. He started tearing up on a phone call with me and ended the call and sent me 500 euros later. I guess he told Dave about a call with me, because Dave called me and started interrogating me on why I just told him I didn't need anything, and then asked my youngest brother. He sounded offended and asked why I feel like I can't rely on him. So I asked, haven't you spoken to Sarah about this? He was confused in what I meant, and I told him about the conversation I had with Sarah after he sent me the 50 euros for the hospital. He said he'd call me back, but he hasn't. A cousin of mine sent me a message a few hours ago saying I was a witch for meddling in their marriage and that Dave didn't owe me anything. I was like, huh? When did I say Dave owed me anything? I have never relied on him for anything, nor do I plan on it. I mean, I feel bad that Dave and Sarah are fighting, but I can't help but feel weirded out that Sarah did that behind his back and he had no clue. I've been extremely anxious since, and I can't stop shaking. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. Sarah is a manipulative a-hole. Your brother had no idea she had that conversation with you. Sarah's now playing the victim. Your brother may have realized what sort of nasty person he may have married, because there may be a lot more things along the same lines that you have no idea about. And Sarah's talking to other family members about it too. Double nasty. And likely lying about how it went down. Also, what is with her creepy weirdness about not asking a married man was sadly within my own family. An aunt said something similar to a niece, and unlike this case, we called aunt out on her creepiness. Not the a-hole. There is something seriously wrong with your sister-in-law. Do not trust her. Personally, when someone starts to show me this type of behavior, if I cannot get away from them, I keep screenshots and record conversations, just in case they start playing games and messing with me down the line. Also, something wrong with a cousin, who meddled in OP's relationship with her brother and sister-in-law, just to scold her for meddling in someone else's relationship. Sounds like the whole family could use some pointers and boundaries. Not the a-hole. What the heck did I just even read? Of course, your brothers would be baffled that you want freaking heat as birthday present, and I hope Dave forces Sarah to apologize to you, publicly, as should your cousin. My teenagers give/loan money to each other all the time, even if they've been fighting. I wonder if Sarah's an only child or if she's just that much of a selfish person. And now for the update. So my middle brother called me yesterday and asked me to explain what's been going on, and I did. He's always had quite a temper and got very angry about the Sarah situation. He mentioned how Dave is paying the rent for Sarah's 22-year-old brother's apartment. So for Sarah to ask me not to ask Dave for anything at all was so messed up, when her own brother is getting his rent paid every single month by Dave. To be honest, this made me mad. It's okay for Dave to support her brother, but God forbid he sends me 50 euros for an emergency? Anyway, Dave called me and we had a heart-to-heart conversation. I explained to him what I've been going through here, and he was silent for a while. I did mention that if I was in urgent need of something, I still had my other two brothers to ask, so it really wasn't that terrible. He said he feels so guilty that I was suffering, and he didn't know. He said he won't tell me the details about his discussion with his wife, but he was heartbroken that she would even think of telling me not to rely on him, and has asked her to give me an apology, which she said she did, but at the time of the call I hadn't received anything. I said I haven't gotten an apology from her, and he told me to check my messages again, still nothing. He was silent for a while and just sighed. I also mentioned a text my cousin sent which he asked me to forward to him. He said it felt so bad that people so much older than me were treating me like this, and he will deal with it so it never happens again. That was this morning. I got a message from Sarah 10 minutes ago. Not sure how that's meant to be an apology, but to summarize, she said, "I'm sorry if you took what I said as you can't ever rely on your brother. He's your brother, and I would never intentionally try to make you feel like he couldn't do anything for you. I'm also hurt that you couldn't speak to me if you had a problem with it. We could have solved this as sisters." Now, what am I meant to say to that? I know she'll make me the villain if I don't respond, but honestly, what on earth is that? I can laugh because of the audacity, and this whole thing is so ridiculous. But thank you, and I will take them up on their help from now on. They just got married in May, so I'm not sure how long they'll be together if there's trouble in paradise so early. But anyway, I hope whatever's best for my brother happens. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. This is a private matter between you and your brother, over a measly 50 euros for a health emergency. Is her brother employed? How did he get the deal of your brother paying his rent? I'm floored that he is okay with it. Although, who knows what Sarah's told your brother? It seems that Sarah knows exactly what she's doing and has been a manipulator for a while now. She's got gaslighter written all over her. Stay strong and keep us updated. To be honest, Dave paying Sarah's brother's rent isn't surprising. It's very normal in our community to help our family this way. I don't know much about his situation as we only met once at a wedding. The only weird thing about this situation, in my opinion, is how comfortable Sarah is for Dave to pay her brother's rent, but she'd raise hell if he did the same for me. Send your sister-in-law's apology to your brother. I really wanted to do that, but won't it look like I'm instigating further problems? Honestly, maybe that's for the best. I mean, he seems to really care about you, and it wouldn't be fair to him to be with somebody who doesn't understand the love he has for his sister, and who could treat somebody with such condescending manners. I don't know. I feel like you'd only be doing him a favor. Sarah is horrible. I'd respond back mentioning that you did speak to her, and she made herself very clear with her statements and questions about the situation. Or I just say something like, I'd love to speak. Let's FaceTime with Dave. I would have a FaceTime call with the both of them, so she can't have these conflicting side conversations with you. Also, and I mean this in the nicest way, you might want to work on your confidence, especially when it comes to Sarah. She's got a lot of nerve treating you in that manner. Don't let her bully you, especially with all that distance between you guys. Your brothers sound like very lovely people, and I would continue to have some deep conversations with them if I were you. Perhaps asking them for advice on how to manage certain things would be a good start, if you don't want to have to rely on them. This way, they'll be happy you're reaching out to them for help, but they'll be helping you to learn and grow instead of just handing you what you need. Good luck. Am I the a-hole for sleeping with another woman after my wife wanted to open up our marriage? Plus updates. Original post. Hey guys, so my wife, 30 female, and I, 33 male, have been married for 8 years now. We've had our fair share of ups and downs during our marriage. 5 years ago, I found out that my wife had cheated on me with a man she met on Tinder. She told me they hooked up around 3 times. At first, I was shocked and wanted a divorce because cheating is a deal breaker for me. However, she told me how sorry she was, that she only loved me, and she really tried her best to show me I could trust her again, and I did. Now let me introduce my wife's best friend, Chris, 31 male. They've known each other for about 15 years. Whenever we had issues, she would always run to him to talk. Chris is single. He's had some relationships, but none lasted very long. I know he has feelings for my wife. He's always telling me he wants a girlfriend just like her and tells her that I don't deserve her. I never thought much of it because, in my head, Chris was kind of a bootlicker, and I never thought he had a chance with my wife. Fast forward to 6 months ago, we were again having ups and downs, and my wife shocked me by suggesting we open up our marriage. I was taken aback and immediately told her I didn't want that. At that point, we hadn't had sex in about 8 months. She was never in the mood. After trying many times to be intimate, I just stopped because I didn't want to pressure her. I love sex, and being sexless for 8 months made me really unhappy. So the more I thought about her suggestion, the more I considered it. Eventually, I agreed. She was surprised at first, but in the end, we both agreed and made some rules. No feelings involved from us or the person we sleep with. No doing it in our apartment. We tell each other when we have sex with someone else. Always use protection. I have a coworker, 28 female. Let's call her Sarah. She's very flirtatious, and I always thought she was a bit into me. One night, after our shift ended, we walked to the bus stop together, and I told her about the open marriage. She was immediately interested and joked that if I wanted to shoot my shot, I could always ask her, so I did. I told her about the rules, especially the one about not catching feelings. She made it very clear she found me attractive but had no emotional attachment. The next day, I told my wife about Sarah, and she gave me the green light. A few days later, I went to Sarah's place and we did it. It felt good, but it didn't feel the same as being with my wife. The following days, my wife was really quiet and we barely talked. I knew something was wrong, so I confronted her. I thought maybe it was about me sleeping with Sarah. Oh boy, was I wrong. She told me that she and Chris had sex. I lost it. I screamed at her and we got into a huge fight. Not only did she break the rule about informing me, but also the one about not catching feelings. Her excuse was that we never clarified whether we should tell each other before or after the act. But what really infuriated me was her trying to convince me that Chris had no feelings for her. She said I was overreacting. I haven't spoken to her for 2 days now and am currently staying at a friend's house. In my head, I keep thinking that Chris is manipulating her so she separates from me. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. My guy, will you please have some self-respect and leave this woman? This is some of the most ridiculous stuff I've read. She cheated on you multiple times, opened the marriage up because she doesn't find you attractive, and then doesn't even follow the rules? She doesn't respect you. Agree. Divorce this woman before she has a chance to get pregnant, and all 3 of you wind up on Maury for some DNA results. What do you even see in your wife? You sound like roommates that just argue all the time. She was very loving and caring. That is why I married her. We were planning to have kids. I don't know what has changed, honestly. I was the guy who always tried to rekindle our relationship, but maybe she's just not into me anymore. My parents got divorced when I was 9 and it really hit me. So I always wanted to make it better. But at this point, a divorce might be the best solution. I don't want to bring up any kids in a relationship like this. What changed is strange D. She likes that, and I'm guessing she likes attention, which is why Chris is around. Single guys don't hang around married women and tell their husbands how lucky they are. Also, the reason she couldn't tell you before her and Chris did it was because it's been happening, which is why you two weren't having sex. Now for the first update. Seems like I'm a bootlicker myself. Oh, the irony. Thanks to all the harsh comments calling me a bitch, idiot, doormat, etc. It really made me realize what a freaking loser I am. Anyway, here's an update and answers to some questions. Yes, my wife is fairly attractive. I've heard that from colleagues on multiple occasions. She's that Pilates/yoga/fitness type woman. She got a boob job 6 years ago, which I paid for Limau. Nice butt, brown hair, green eyes. As for me, I'm fairly average looking. Besides my height and physique, I don't have much else going for me. Because of my wife's fitness addiction, I got into it as well, and as a result, got pretty jacked. My best friend and I came to the conclusion that she's only with me for financial security. I have a solid education, a well-paying job, and my parents are wealthy. My wife hasn't been working for about 3 years. I was also planning to buy a house this year. Yes, I also think my wife had sex with Chris, and probably other men, before this incident. Now the update. I'm still at my friend's place. In my mind, this marriage is over, and I'm filing for divorce. I tried to tell her that yesterday over the phone, but she didn't answer my calls for about 3 hours. So I sent her a text before going to bed, saying that it was probably best to separate, and that I want to file for divorce. I woke up to a flood of messages. She was angry at first, then shifted to apologizing and wanting to work things out. We agreed to meet today, so the next update will probably be the last. Second update. This will probably be my last update. I just had lunch with my wife, and it was blatantly obvious she was trying to manipulate me again. She confessed everything. She and Chris had been doing it for over a year now. She started crying, saying it was all her fault, and she wanted to get back with me. But I've had enough. I told her I was going to file for divorce and left her crying in the restaurant. In the meantime, I've already made arrangements with our family lawyer. I'm staying at my dad's place for a few days to let things cool off a bit. He's very supportive and actively helping me with the divorce. Thank you again for all the comments. I might do another update in a week or so. We'll see how this crap show ends. Well, if it isn't the most predictable outcome possible, from a wife requesting an open marriage. How shocking. To be fair, this is the most predictable outcome of either partner wanting to open up a marriage. I have not once ever seen this work for people who started monogamous in real life. Thankfully, you guys don't have children. Why are the open relationships after marriage always the same thing? They have already been or have someone in mind when requesting it, and the moment the spouse finds someone, they lose their minds. Even better, seeing as you already mentioned the lack of offspring to worry about, they hadn't bought that house yet either. She would have got away with it too, if it weren't for those pesky Redditors and their meddlesome truths. Next story. Am I the a-hole for standing up to my pregnant wife? My wife is 31 weeks pregnant. When we found out we were expecting, we came up with a plan to remodel our spare bedroom into a nursery. My father-in-law is a former contractor, so we told him our plans, and he said he would help make the dream a reality. This was in February. We had one solid week of work completed, including knocking down a section of the wall to expand the closet. After that, the project stalled. My father-in-law was more concerned about golfing and fishing every weekend. Instead of completing the project he said he would finish. There were always various reasons. He needed tools, so I bought them. He said he needed his friend to help, but his friend was working on another house out of state and likely gone for the entire summer. Numerous times I told him I would help, and it was always, "We'll get it done. Don't worry about it. We're due in early September." My wife has progressively gotten more stressed as the due date approaches. So, despite construction not being anything I was ever taught with the power of YouTube, I started working. By myself, I laid new flooring, painted the entire nursery, installed new baseboards, trimmed out the closet door, and installed the new door frame and door. Mind you, our house was built in 1930, so nothing is straight, everything is angled. So this was not an easy first project to tackle. I needed my father-in-law for one day to help hang the door. Otherwise, it was just me. The nursery is nearly complete. I have one more floating shelf to hang and a couple of paint touch-ups. Throughout the entire process, I have yet to get a thank you from my wife. It's always complaints that I'm not getting enough done or hyper-fixation on the smallest details. You missed a paint spot there. It's become rather frustrating because I'm only doing this to help. Initially, this wasn't even supposed to be my project. I'm also the breadwinner and work about 50 hours a week. My father-in-law is retired and spends most of his days on the couch. On top of that, I handle almost all the cleaning and laundry, manage the doctor appointments, refill all medications, cook every night, and take care of our 4 pets. But I'm trying to set a good example for our kid. Yesterday, I worked in the nursery for another day. After 5 hours upstairs, I wanted to take a break and hang with our dogs. We have a security camera in our living room. I sat down for maybe 5 to 10 minutes in front of the TV when I got a call from my wife, who was at work. She works weekends only. When I picked up, I got, "You don't have time to sit down. You need to move to the next project. Do some laundry." "All right, fine. I'll throw a load in." After that, she got off work around the time I was done sorting and starting the load. We had a normal conversation, but when she got home, she looked at the nursery and said, "You know, I expected you to get more done today." I had enough. I told her I got as much done as I could, and that we are only at this stage because of everything I did. I reminded her that not once have I gotten a thank you or even a "this looks nice." She stormed off to her mom's house, where I'm sure she said nothing but negative things about me. Since she got home last night, she's barely talked to me. I tried to help her this morning with a few small things, and she responded, "Don't help. I guess I have to do this all on my own." I get that pregnancy does crazy things to a woman's biological makeup, and I don't expect to be treated like I'm a god, but I don't think I should be constantly kicked around for all that I'm doing. During the week, if she isn't sitting in our pool, which I also set up for her, she lays in bed. I do almost everything. A thank you goes a long way. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Pregnancy is tough, but it's not an excuse to be ungrateful and controlling. Watching you on a security camera to tell you to do chores is way over the line. You deserve a thank you. I'm wondering if she was like this pre-pregnancy, or if this is all new behaviors. Either way, OP sounds like a very good person being sadly used by her. She didn't suddenly get a job that's limited to 2 days a week. She didn't suddenly install cameras all over their house. Looks like she didn't even pick up a hammer, even if it's perhaps understandable. She doesn't want to paint or varnish things. She didn't suddenly forget how to talk to her daddy who abandoned them with the unfinished nursery. This isn't new in my opinion. Dude, this is way beyond pregnancy issues. This is spoiled brat princess issues. I'm guessing none of this behavior is really new, but has been amplified by her pregnancy. Serious marriage counseling is the next step. Her actions are wildly unacceptable. You need to set boundaries and stick to them, or she will run all over you forever. Stop accepting being kicked around and set some boundaries. Therapy is a great option, as is putting your foot down that every Sunday, or whichever day you pick, is for you to do whatever you want to help you mentally decompress. Dads deserve it too. Pregnancy hormones do not equal a free pass to be a spoiled, ungrateful brat. She could be helping still, and heaven forbid, she helps with her unborn child's nursery. If you weren't there, she would have to do everything or get some help from family. As a woman who had zero help from the other parent, my mistake. I would have given an arm and a leg for the kind of support you're giving her. She's just too spoiled to see clearly. Good luck with the future. I fear this will just continue once the child arrives. Not the a-hole. Last story. Am I the a-hole for considering divorce years after my wife publicly humiliated me? My wife, 31 female, and I, 32 male, have been married for 4 years, together for 10. 3 years ago, she gave birth to our first baby. It was one of the happiest moments of my life, but right after the birth, she really started to struggle mentally. She went through postpartum depression, and during that time, she changed. She resented me a lot. She made comments about my size. I'm 6'4", but yeah, I'm small down there. I tried to persevere through the insults because I knew she was going through some form of PPD, but over time, her insults really got to me. I guess my breaking point came during a small get-together. My sister and my close childhood friend, who's like a second sister to me, were over for dinner. In the middle of casual conversation, my wife made a crude joke about my size in front of them. It was awkward, and I don't think I've ever felt more humiliated in my life than at that moment. When they left, I went to our room and just cried. I hadn't cried like that since I was in middle school. I think seeing me like that finally hit her. The next day, she booked an appointment, got diagnosed with PPD shortly after, and started medication. It helped. She apologized a lot after that, told me she wasn't herself during that time, and even cried saying she hated how she acted. She said it was like she was possessed by a devil. I forgave her because my focus was on our baby and keeping our family together and the mental stability of both my wife and me. And honestly, things have been good since. She's a great mom, and we've been stable. But the truth is, I can't forget that night. I can't forget how it felt when she made my insecurity public in front of people who matter to me. I've been honest with her that I still feel hurt. She always apologizes and a lot of times even cries, but it doesn't erase it. She's even suggested couples therapy, but I told her she's the one who needed counseling, not me. She's the one who mentally traumatized me. Last night, for the first time in our relationship, I told her I've been thinking about the possibility of separation or divorce. I told her it's not definite, but it's where my mind goes sometimes. She was shocked and panicked. Her hands were literally shaking, and I had to calm her down. I told her they're just fleeting thoughts, but they're not stopping. Am I the a-hole for considering divorce? You're not the a-hole for considering divorce, but you're the a-hole for not considering counseling. By your own admission, she traumatized you. She is doing the work to get back on track. You need to do the work to resolve your issues too. I hope it all works out for you both. I agree he's 100% valid for feeling the way he does, but healing goes both ways. If he's still carrying that pain, therapy could really help him process it. It's not about blame, it's about finding peace for both of them. What she said is awful, and I feel for you. But she had a mental illness. That isn't her fault, and she developed that illness because she had a child. That is because you and her were having a family together. She sought help and is clearly trying her best to gain your forgiveness. What you said about not needing couples counseling is not right and cruelly phrased, and the fact that you are still torturing her with the possibility of breaking up while you have a young child is awful. If you can't forgive her and you can't accept you need counseling, then you should break up. But don't make her the monster in this. Not trying to be mean, but some stuff just sticks, you know? People say get over it, but humiliation like that changes you, bro. Especially when it comes from someone who's supposed to protect your insecurities, not broadcast them.